Folks, welcome back to Threes In again. Bobo here. So, I want to take a moment here to tell you about an experience I had earlier this week. Just a chance encounter that has just meant a great deal to me. But before I get into the nuts and bolts of the encounter, I want to give you a little bit of background. On Wednesday, Carolyn and I decided to take a trip over to western North Carolina to take a train ride. Yeah, we decided we'd take a choo-choo up and down the mountain. It was about a 16-mile trip. It lasted about an hour 15, hour 20 one way. And once we got up to the turnaround point, which was a small mountain town, they gave us about an hour and a half to walk around and look at the plunder. And plunder they had. All kinds of plunder. But at any rate, it was a great experience. On the way up and on the way back, matter of fact, we followed a river, and it was very, very beautiful scenery. The river had spots in it where it was just smooth as glass, and there were some kayakers out there and some canoers. And then it had other places where it had just a little bit of whitewater, although it wasn't as rough as what you'd see in Deliverance, and I did not hear any banjo players. But about midway up, I suppose, we passed a train car laying on its side. And what that was the train car they used in filming the movie The Fugitive. And then just off to the side of the train car was the prison bus. So that came at us totally out of surprise. The other thing I think that impressed me, who knew, was the kudzu. I saw some of the finest kudzu hanging from trees. I mean, it must have been coming down anywhere from 75 to 100, 125 feet. You know, riding in that train at 77 years old and looking out on the side of the mountain over there at 8 miles an hour, it's kind of hard to gauge anything. But at any rate, that kudzu was magnificent hanging down, and those people ought to be real proud of themselves. I'm still trying to figure out a way to take that stuff, grind it up into salads, and selling it to people that live on the East Coast. I think there is a market for it. Okay, I get off track. So we came back from the train and then hopped over to Cherokee, North Carolina, and spent the night at Harrah's. And I want to give a shout out to Harrah's over at the casino. Just a great place to visit. We really enjoyed ourselves. Went into the casino and it didn't take long. I dropped 20 bucks and said, okay, that's enough of that. You know, my meager Social Security check. I don't have a lot of funds to throw around like that. Okay, as promised, here's the really fun part. Next morning we got up and headed out, and I decided to top off my fuel tank before I hit the road, so I pulled into the Shell station. While I just had gotten the pump hooked up, I heard a couple motorcycles pull in next to me. I couldn't see them because the pump was obstructing my view. So I got that thing all going well and walked around, and I saw these two guys getting off their bikes and off their cycles, and I saw one was wearing a vest that said combat veteran. Okay, so I said, how you going? He said, great. I said, combat veteran. I said, where'd you serve? And he said, Iraq. And then at that time I saw the other guy had the same vest. And I said, well, thank you for your service. I actually really felt that. So I said, thank you for your service. And the guy kind of stood up a little taller, and he looked at me and he said, sir, he said, did you happen to serve? And I said, I did. And he said, where? And I said, when? And I said, well, I was in Vietnam, in the Vietnam campaign. And he more or less came to attention. He said, well, sir, welcome home. Oh, man, did that touch my heart. That just touched my heart. And I said, well, thank you. And so we got to talking a little bit, and as we're inclined to do, it doesn't matter what service you're from. It doesn't matter, or when you served. The bannering began, and the laughter began, and the needling began, and it was just so darn much fun. And I just really enjoyed standing there talking to those guys. Well, about that time, Carolyn walked out, and I knew that I was on a limited time. But anyway, I was going to make the most of it. So I just stood there and kept talking with them a little bit and found out a little bit more about them. They were from Massachusetts and they're just on a bike ride. And what a beautiful place to take a bike ride in western North Carolina. Then I saw one of the guys walk over to his bike, and he was fiddling around in this pouch. And it's like Yogi Berra once said, you can observe a lot by watching. So out of the corner of my eye, I'm kind of watching this guy, and I see him reach in. And at that time, no kidding, I had a golden buzzer moment. I started thinking, So he fiddles around, pulls something out, and he puts it in the palm of his hand. Now you know where I'm going. Walks over, shakes hands with me, and he says, "Sir," he says, "thanks once again for your service." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, you're welcome." And he gave me this coin. And you'll see this on the front of the image I'm going to use for this video. And then on the back side, now here's where I have to really show my age. What it says on the back side is, if I can get that, it says Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association. And this is what the back side looks like here. And I just want to thank these two guys if they happen to come across this video. First of all, I'm very honored. And second of all, what a pleasure it is to run into members of the Brotherhood and pick up a conversation from where somebody else left off. Who knows? But we all know where it goes. We had a little bit of the conversation. I will take the conversation and, well, I'm sharing it with you this morning. But these are things that are very meaningful in my life today. So with that, this is Bobo Bass Gear. Stop.